So yeah, my dad died. Um, and I know for a lot of you, um, like your initial reaction might be like, uh, to write a comment or something, or send me a tweet or whatever, and offer me condolences. Um, I don't need them. I don't want them, and they don't feel appropriate. And that's kind of what this video is about. I made a thread when it happened, when I found out, which I guess at this point is last week. But I wanted time to ruminate on it because I felt nothing. And it sounds cold, and maybe it is a little cold, but it isn't for no reason. I've talked about it before. I have not had a good relationship with my father most of my life. You can't really like unless they're overtly abusive, like in like a physical way. Typically, you don't really notice the signs of other types of abuse. And while I don't consider myself abused in the traditional sense, besides a couple key things, it hasn't really negatively affected me until my adult life. And I mean, and you know, you might be thinking, well, no, you're valid as an abuse victim, and sure, yeah, everyone experiences some abuse, but I want to make sure that you understand that when I say it, it's like a more, I don't feel like a victim at all. And that's kind of not what it's about. I just thought it was interesting, the feedback I got on my Twitter thread about it. So let's talk about that. So in the Twitter thread, I mentioned that the thing that upset me most about him dying wasn't that he died, because we didn't have a relationship. And I gotta be honest with you, when I found out, the moment I found out, I was relieved. It sounds fucked up, it sounds pretty shitty, but there was like a pressure to that relationship in my life that I had tried to cut out, and done so pretty successfully. But there was always attempts at contact. The last thing he sent me in the mail, it was a it was a Christmas card, and in it said, "Merry Christmas, son." After like 5 years of nothing. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It sounded more, and maybe you gotta know the guy to understand why I read into this the way I do. And maybe you would have to have been there for the 30 years or so that I experienced it. It felt more like just letting me know he knew where I lived. You know what I mean? It was cold. It didn't have anything in it. Like, it didn't have a gift. It didn't say like, hey, it would really mean a lot to me if we talked. It would, you know, anything. It rubbed me the wrong way. It felt like a threat almost, in like a weird way. Not like an overt threat, but kind of in like, I don't know, like I'm still out here. I can still affect you. I don't know. And I wanted to talk about how the validity of not mourning people that you've cut out of your life when they die. There's lots of people with shitty parents, relatives, siblings, whatever, friends. I mean, you just shouldn't deal with that. My life has been a lot better since not having, like, that in my life. You know what I mean? And by that, I don't just mean my father. I mean, like, all of it that comes with it is his second wife, who I don't resent because he got remarried. I'm fine with that. I didn't care about that. I love my mom dearly, and she left him. So, you know what I mean? Like, it made sense. I don't care that he got remarried. She's just a bad person. I don't know. I don't want to get into it too much. I don't want to smear the guy necessarily, but you know, your typical hyper-conservative, very sexist, very pretty racist, homophobic. Like, literally, if I had turned out to be gay, he would have kicked me out of the house. That's the kind of homophobic we're dealing with. An example of racism is I once came home. If you probably know this about me at this point if you're watching the show. I grew up playing basketball a lot. It's like my favorite sport to this day. It was basketball signups. I brought him like the sheet home, and I was like 12 years old, and it was like right when we started to get actual like jerseys instead of like the colored like t-shirts. If you guys know anything about booster sports or anything, but I was really excited about like playing on a real team. I remember being excited about it, and he told me, and to steal my joy in the moment, like, it's just an N-word sport nowadays anyway, like super casually. And it was just the two of us alone in my childhood home, in my kitchen, and I was embarrassed. I was embarrassed to be near a person that would say that, and I'm 12 years old. This is, you know, only one example in a myriad of other examples. I've told the story before. I was 3 years old, 4 years old, and I picked a female character in like a Nintendo game. It was like a tennis game, I think. And he like got livid and was like, "What? You want to be a girl?" Like, this is the kind of stuff that I dealt with, and I don't want to get into the more personal shit that. You know, the stuff I consider more monstrous and actually more abusive. This is just an example of why you shouldn't like the guy. Give me the benefit of the doubt and assume it gets worse. I don't know. I guess I want to talk about the thing that made me mad. Because of that relationship and the way it was, the thing that upset me, that I alluded to earlier, wasn't his death. The thing that upset me most about his death is that he took from me any chance I had to be sad about it. If that makes sense. My dad died. I don't even care. I want to be the kind of person that cares about that, but he took it. And just saying that makes me more upset than him being dead. Like, the idea that I'm never gonna see this person walk or do anything again literally doesn't bother me. And in fact, it makes me more excited about the future because it's a thing I don't have to avoid. I don't have to avoid this entity that causes such negativity in my life. I literally just got happier thinking about that, and I was sad moments ago thinking about how I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be the guy that he made me. Right? I don't know. It's just one of those things where I sound like the asshole. Maybe I'm the asshole, but he really fucking earned it. Like, he really put the work in to not let me care. So I guess I want you to take two things out of this. The first one I want you to take out of this video is, again, not to send me condolences. I genuinely do not need them. I don't know. I just don't need them at all. Again, I felt relieved. Like, it even felt relieving that it was before the election, right? It's just one less person that's going to vote for something that harms, like, the LGBT community, and some of my best friends, like Hannah is one of them, Sarah is one of them, like, or harm minorities. I have several minority friends. Like, you know what I mean? Like to prevent healthcare from happening. Like, I don't know. He's the type of guy that, like, reveled in the fact that people don't have healthcare. Very strange. But anyway, the thing I want you to take out of this is, number one, it's totally valid to cut people out of your life, and when they're gone for good, and however that manifests, whether you move far away and they just have no contact, or they die, or whatever. Maybe they go to jail because it's like abuse that more than I ever experienced. Something, whatever it is. I promise you, you're gonna feel relieved in some way. You might lament over, you know, I don't feel like I've ever had like a dad. I explained this to my mom once. She asked me kind of like why we don't get along, and it didn't take me long to think about it because I guess I'd been thinking about it for some time. And I said, Mom, I feel like I have a pretty good father. Like, we are provided for, and he works a lot. You know what I mean? Like, by no means was this a lazy man. By no means did he, you know, let us live in squalor. But I think that's what he thought being a parent was just paying for the stuff until they leave. And that's not what parents are. You can be the poorest parent in the world. And here's the second thing I want you to take out of this. You need to validate your children in whatever it is, as long as it's not harming anybody and it makes them happy, right? Or brings them peace, or it doesn't have to necessarily actively make them happy, but as long as it doesn't harm them or somebody else in a real way, validate them. Tell them that you're proud of them. Tell them that, like, you know, don't... Parents fall into this trap of, like, hoping their kids like the same shit. I promise you, if you just show excitement for that, whatever it is, it could be a sport, could be music, could be games, could be cooking, I don't know, it doesn't matter. Whatever it is, if you just show genuine excitement and just like wanting to share, rather than like forcing that person to conform to whatever it is you like to do, I promise you, you're going to see better results. Like, you don't have to be the softest parent. You can still be strict. Like, there's definitely arguments to be made about, you know, being a little bit regimented with your kids and making sure they understand. But, like, do it positively. Like, don't use cleaning your room as a negative thing. Use it as a positive thing. Positive reinforcement. Don't punish if they don't do it. Reward if they do. I mean, this is the same guy that once threatened to shoot my dogs because I didn't want to do the dishes. Like, with a gun. Another thing, though, I guess, if you take those two things away, this third one's kind of important, too. I have a brother, and I have a mom, who both know this man intimately the way I do, who lived in that same household and experienced a lot of the negativity differently than me, and he processes it different. And then my mom, who actively left the man. Those two people, my mom and my brother, are still sad about it. And that's valid too. Just because of what I experienced, it doesn't mean that their bereavement, their grief, isn't correct. It isn't the right way they should feel. I get to feel my way, and they get to feel their way. And a big thing I never wanted to do was do the same thing my dad did to me and take the reason to be sad away. Now, my mom and my brother know where I'm coming from, and I kind of wanted to keep a lot of that close to me so I didn't take that from them. But they know now, and I don't know. Hopefully it's something they get through. They haven't really reached out to me for help. I mean, I visited with my mom recently. My brother's been busy and stuff. But you know, if they need me, I'm here. But like, it can be hard to be like, that guy, that person's a fucking monster, and see people cry for them. Try to take a step back and just understand that, like, those people are valid too. Anyway, this was a heavy video, I guess. We don't usually do that. It felt good. I mean, we do it on my Twitch streams, which, by the way, you should follow. If you like content in general, you should come over to the Twitch channel, twitch.tv/actualjake. I do lots of stuff. I do politics. It's a lot of fun. It's very positive. You might notice the corn. Sometimes I pop this fucker on me. I can't. I'm very fashionable. It's corn Pope hat. I mean, I don't know why it happened. It just happened. Seriously, it would mean a lot to me if you came down and checked it out. Hannah shows up on there sometimes. It's a very good time. So I genuinely think... oh, there. Hold on. I gotta resex myself. Gotta get the sexy back. Oh, yeah. Look at that swoop. Seriously, though, I think you'd really enjoy it, and it would mean a lot to me if you came over and gave a follow. It's totally free. I know you're not comfortable with Twitch. You're a YouTube user. I know you're not comfortable with it. You're like, what do all these buttons do? Tell you what, just click the link, click the little follow button, and then I promise you, we have an amazing, inclusive community, very, very gay community, that wants you to be a part of the streams. So come on down. Come hang out with us. I have debated people like John Doyle, a YouTuber. I have one coming up with The Quartering. I've done Jesse Lee Peterson. I mean, all sorts of people. Talked with Destiny and Hassan Piker, and like, there's lots going on over here. So come hang out. You'll really enjoy it. And if you want something not as heavy as what we just talked about, go over to Hannah's last video. She read some Star Trek fanfic, and it was really, really stupid and funny. But I think you'll like it. Anyway, that's kind of it. I wanted to talk about that. If I didn't make myself clear, and you're still like, why are you such an asshole kid? Your dad paid for food or some shit. Go to my Twitter thread. I'll link it in the description. And like, read that. Also follow me on Twitter. I'm a good follow. But maybe that'll illuminate it better. But yeah, if you guys have any people in your life like that, and maybe they've died or you just cut them out in some other way, I want you to share your experience, because I want people to realize that the family you find as you age, your friends and maybe your actual family over time, the people that are really, really close to you as you grow older, are there for a reason, because they're good people. You can cut the bad ones out. You have no obligation to be around those bad people, and you will be happier. Seriously. It might even sound hard, but you can do it. Okay. Imagine I said something to lighten the mood shortly before this. Literally looking around. I got nothing. I love you guys. You're beautiful and you're valid.